Hey everyone, it's Brighty. Today we're going to make the cutest mini clutch purse that's perfect for a night out or for adding a little sparkle to your day. This DIY project is super easy to follow even if you're new to crafting. The best part? You can customize it with your favorite color of crystals to make it truly unique. This is a step-by-step guide, so if you run into any issues, just drop your questions in the comments and I'll be there to help. If you find this video useful and haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe, like and share. I have more exciting content on the way. Before we start, let's get everything we need. To craft a stunning orange-red clutch bag that truly shines, you will need about 9 packs of 3A level orange-red crystal beads, each containing 84 exquisite 8mm beads, and 48 meters of 0.5mm fishing line to secure everything perfectly. Pair this with a beautiful rose gold kiss lock frame measuring 10.5 cm with 28 holes on each side. At last, a long metal chain that will be needed later. For your convenience, I've provided links to the beads and accessories in the description of this video, making it easy for you to get everything you need. Let's jump right in. We are beginning with the outer part of the clutch frame. First, open the clutch frame. Cut a piece of fishing line that is about 2 meters long. Take both ends of the fishing line and insert one end into the first hole and the other end into the third hole, leaving the second hole empty. Pull the lines out to the outer part of the frame, ensuring that the ends of the fishing line are equal in length, to avoid wasting any line. We will start with 3 beads to get our first bead loop, and add 2 beads each time in the following loops. Insert all 3 beads into the line from the first hole. After that, take the end of the line and insert it through the latest added bead to create a thread loop. Then, pass the other end of the line through this loop. And later pass the line back through the third hole it came out of. Now we have a loose knot. Next, pull both ends tightly to get the looped knot into this bead. Pull the line tight to get your first triple bead loop. Skip the 4th hole and insert the line from the inner part into the 5th hole from inside the frame. Pull the lines through. Next, take the upper fishing line, add 2 beads. And then insert the line back through the most recently added bead to create a thread loop. Pass the other line from the frame through this thread loop. Finally, reinsert the end of the lower line back through the 5th hole it came out of. To complete the process, create a second tight bead loop by pulling the thread knot into the center of the bead. Continue this process to create the bead loops until the last one. Always remember to pull the thread knot into the center of the bead to ensure each bead is securely in place. We are now nearly at the end of the first row. First, insert the lower line from inside the frame through the second to last hole, leaving the last hole empty. To finish the last bead loop, add 2 beads to this line instead of using the last upper one. Please note that you should leave the last hole in the frame alone. And start the second row by adding 3 beads to the right thread. For the following bead loops, pass the lower line through the lower left bead and add 2 beads to the upper line. When we reach the end of the second row, add 2 beads to the left thread instead of the right upper line to complete the last bead loop of the second row. Then start the third row by adding 3 beads to the left thread again. Later continue weaving in this way until we finish 8 rows of bead loops. We now have 2 bead loops remaining to complete this panel. To achieve a neater finish and cancel the ends of the fishing line at the end, we will thread the 2 lines through the most recently added beads, without creating any knots when we craft the last second bead loop. That ensures all the beads which form the last bead loop are accessible. Finally, we will hide the lions by threading them around the last bead loop. Some 10.5 cm curved frames available on the market has either 28 or 29 holes. The rose gold frame I selected has 28 holes, which means there will be 1 extra hole on each side. However, this won't affect the construction of the bag. The only adjustment we need to make is to start the other panel from the side near the extra hole. Then we can repeat the entire process we just demonstrated, without any other changes. We now have 2 panels, each with 8 rows of bead loops. The final step is to attach them together. Start by inserting a new fishing line through the second bead. Then add 2 beads to one line and 1 bead to the other to create the first firmly placed bead loop by creating a thread knot and pulling it into the center of the bead. Next, add 1 bead to the left line and pass it through the second bead on the opposite panel. Finally, create the second bead loop by adding 1 more bead. Begin the first bead loop of the second row by threading the left line through the upper bead. Next, add 2 more beads onto the line to finish this bead loop. Then insert the lower line through the lower right bead and the third bead of the opposite panel. After that, add 1 bead to this line to complete the second bead loop. Repeat this process to finish the remaining beading. Here we're almost finished with the body part. But there is one step that differs from the previous part. On this side, we do not need to hide the line endings or start with a new line. Thus, we will continue our work using these 2 lines on the bottom part. So we will finish the last 2 bead loops as usual. Then start the bottom part by adding 3 beads on the right line. Then add 2 beads to complete the second bead loop as shown. Next, pass the lower left string through both the 3rd and 4th beads simultaneously to create the 3rd bead loop. Add 1 bead to the right thread. This will also form our first corner of bottom. Then proceed to make an additional 9 bead loops along. Once we have completed a total of 10 bead loops, pass the left thread through the left 2 beads at the same time. Then we will create the second corner by adding 1 bead to the right thread. Later, insert the left string through the left 2 beads simultaneously after making another 2 bead loops. After that, continue creating another 9 bead loops until reaching the 4th corner. We've now reached the penultimate bead loop and our thread is running a row. To complete this bead loop, we will thread 2 lines through the bead without creating a knot, which will help cancel the lie ends. Finally, pass and hide the lie ends around the last 3 beads to create the final bead loop of this row. Insert a new fishing line through these 2 beads to start a new row and secure the following bead loops with a knot each time until we reach the last bead loops. Pass the lines directly through the most recently added bead, without creating a knot or making the final bead loop. At last, thread the lines through the upper 3 beads and hide the thread ends by wrapping them around these beads. The bag is now complete. Instead of using AAA level crystals, I also created another purse using ordinary beads and a silver frame. These 2 bags have slightly different shapes. The red one features 4 loops in width and 11 bead loops in length. In contrast, the silver bag has 6 loops in width and 10 bead loops in length. The reason for this difference is that the 2 frames have different hole configurations, although their lengths are the same. However, there is no need to worry. The crafting procedure remains the same as long as you follow the steps provided. All the beads, frames, and other accessories or kits needed for this project are listed in the description, so don't forget to check them out if you need anything. Again, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.